How is everybody doing? How's things? How's your week? How's life? How's the universe? How's everything? Let's get started. Hello to the 3 concurrent viewers who are here. 4. Oh gosh. How's everybody doing? Thank you, YouTube, for the actually timely live stream. How's things? The RTX 3090 launch is here. That's kind of mad. Hello to Common Moth. How you doing? Also, hello to, I am gonna assume your name is Luke, since it's Luke. Hi, how you doing? How's things? Evening, just here to lurk in the background. Nice one. Good evening from the Midlands. Hello. I am also in the Midlands. Ooh. Yeah. What did everyone think of the 3090 launch then? Hello, Luca. And no, I still don't have a 3080. I'll have a couple next week. Wow. I'm getting a PC. Nice one. What sort of PC? What's like pre-built? Are you building one? If so, what spec? And actually, just generally, what spec? I'm gonna move my my camera a little bit further that way. There we go. Eating my burger. Nice. Hello, Mizzy. How you doing? How's things? I'd link it, but it doesn't let me link it. I'm building. Fair, yeah. Unless you are a mod, YouTube will not let you post links. I don't think that's something I can change, but either way, what sort of spec is it? Speaking of your lapsus, I've noticed so many tech tubers mixing up 2080 to 3080 in recent reviews. Yeah, that's a thing. I think it just comes with when you're talking about some two effectively arbitrary numbers. You get them mixed up, and I was talking. When I was doing the bike review. I did when I was talking about the front lights, I said that I was talking about why didn't they do what they did on the front. And what I meant to say was back, but yeah, it's it happens quite a lot. I want to switch from RX 5700 XT to an RTX 3080. Fair, that would be a reasonable upgrade. No worries. Hi, just wondering where you were with the whole 30 series drama. What are you specifically talking about drama-wise? Are you talking about the stock? I would assume so. But what are you specifically referencing? Because there's possibly a lot of different things that you could be. You are welcome to, although I'm currently without arm. Well, I'm not, it just hurts quite a lot to move, so checking Discord will be a slight difficulty, but I can certainly try. And hello, Janusik, how you doing, man? How's things? Welcome to the peeps who are here, who are the silent majority that sit watching the stream and not chatting. Hi, how you doing? How's things? How's your week? For that one. Hello, Beowulf. How you doing, man? How's things? So yeah, this week's been interesting. Last week, I think, was probably the best week to be just a gamer in general. With the launches, announcements, pre-orders. This week is we're still there, but now for the 1%ers, you have a very, very good time on your hands, it seems. At least to a degree anyway. It's not revolutionary, but it's still damn impressive, so yeah. I'm kind of surprised that they called it a 3090 and not like 3080 Ti. But yeah, I just bought one of your t-shirts last week, and came today. Printing is really good quality. Awesome. Which one did you go for? I quite like the this one, the GPU T, the one that I designed in Blender. That was quite fun to do. So yeah. Well, true. Yeah. Loved your Liam Lee Galahad review. Thanks. It'll take a while to be available in my region, but I'm looking forward to getting one. No worries. That's it there. The lights are the ASRock B550 Steel Legend motherboard, but it's certainly shiny. It's certainly decent. It's okay. Like it didn't blow me away in terms of its performance, but it certainly didn't underperform. So yeah, good shout overall, especially if you like RGB. Hey man, how's things? I am okay. You know, usual. And I am looking forward to the 3070 launch. The odds of me getting one at this point, since I still don't even have a 3080, is probably quite slim. But yeah, it's certainly the more approachable card. And while I'm very certain that it's not going to be faster than than the 2080 Ti in anything other than a very specific RTX game, it will be, yeah, definitely, it'll be interesting. And I think it will be faster than a 2080 and probably faster than the 2080 Super as well. And for the money, that makes it more reasonable. So, yeah. Luke, we have a Discord server that you can join, that you can, you know, post it in instead. I don't know what my, like, I know what my username is, but I don't know what the numbers are, and yeah, probably best if I don't. Hey mate, could you recommend any headset in the 100 to 200 euro range? So I take it you're asking for a gaming headset with a mic included, right? General is fine, yeah, sure. My move heaven and earth to get the 3070. That's the exciting one of the bunch. I agree. Just like the 1070 and even the 2070, 2060 was for the last generations, that will be the one that sells the most, and I just really hope that they have stock of them. I have a 3080 pre-order and looking for your advice. Keep the pre-order or get a 2080 Ti used. So obviously the 3080 will get you slightly more performance in most applications. But if you can get a stellar deal on a 2080 Ti still, then yeah, definitely give it a shot. I suppose what I would do is try and buy a 2080 Ti for what, £500-600. If you can get it for that, then cancel the pre-order. If you can't find one, then you know, don't bother and just get a 3080. I'm gonna check the wrong one. I'm just gonna check the camera is actually configured correctly, because it always changes. It's stuck this week. Nice, cool. No worries. What AMD CPU do you recommend for gaming? As the more cores you go for, the slower overall clock speed you get. What's the best happy medium? So the thing is that the way AMD has structured their 7th gen third gen lineup is the higher core count you go, the faster clock speed you get as well. With Intel, it's normally the 10600, the 10700 is normally the sweet spot, especially in terms of overclocking performance. But yeah, realistically, the 3600 is, or the 3600X, I should say, if you're looking for out-of-the-box performance, is kind of the sweet spot in terms of price to performance. The 3700 is great if you want to do some extra things on the side or want a bit more future proofing, if you like. But yeah, the 36, if you want to go even cheaper, the 3300X seems like an incredible value, and I believe that you might even be able to push it a little bit in terms of an overclock if you wanted. So yeah. Moth, if I was so inclined, and I'm not, and could afford it, I'd need to get a 3070 because the 3080 can't reasonably fit in my Meshify C. Yeah, that's fair actually. James, good advice on a mid-tier case. Airflow comes with fans, easy to build in, under $100. Don't need any RGB. So my I don't build in many different cases. The one that I know very well is the Fantex P350X. It's tempered glass. It does have a bit of RGB, although you can just not connect it. It has reasonable front airflow. I'm pretty sure it comes with some fans that are actually quite reasonable, and it's super easy to build in. So that would, and it's under $100 by a reasonable margin. Power per UK, fair. Where's the spec? Come on. 3600. So I probably wouldn't go with an H100i. If you're going with 3600, you don't really need that. It's quite expensive. 16 gigs of. I would swap the RAM for 3600 megahertz. Why do you want a capture card? Why do you want two separate SSDs and a hard drive? And why do you want an add-in sound card? Yeah, that'd be my questions. Fantex P3 front case pops when heating up or cooling down. Interesting. I can't say that mine has done that, but fair. Kind of weird. And yes, I was thinking of headset with a built-in mic. No worries. So in that price range, the Corsair Virtuoso is excellent. The mic quality is insane. It's relatively comfortable. It's wireless, and the sound quality is pretty decent. You can go for a few different solutions depending on how much you value sound quality and that sort of thing. I think you could get a very nice pair of standard headphones, like, what was that, like Bear Dynamic DC 990 Pros or whatever for like £100, and then get an Antline Mon mic if you want better audio quality. But yeah, if you want a gaming headset, especially if you want one wireless, the Corsair Virtuoso in that price range is possibly the best you can get, in my experience. 144 hertz with 70.
You are okay.
2% NTSC coverage. Is that good for creative work? That's not fantastic. I don't know what 72% of NTSC would normally translate to in sRGB or into DCI-P3, but yeah, but like, that's not amazing. I'm planning on building a PC under £800. Budget was higher, but I had to buy a new phone, which depleted my funds. Very probably unlucky. What's your opinion on parts? I know Zen 3 is near. So yeah, if you're willing to wait, the Zen 3 announcement is 2 weeks, something like that. So that could be, you know, if you're willing to wait, that could be an option. Although be prepared to wait potentially another month or so for like availability and that sort of thing, and then wait another month for stock availability after that, if you don't get the pre-order in or whatever. So that could be an option. Otherwise, yeah, for an £800 price tag, it depends also if you're willing to look on the used market, because right now graphics card pricing is insane. So yeah, that could be viable, but if you're wanting new, then Ryzen 3600X, a B450 motherboard, what's that, like 200 and something, 250 or something like that. 16 gigs of RAM, higher speed better, up to 3600 megahertz. An M.2 SSD, maybe a hard drive, case it, 50 or 100, power supply at 50 or 100, and then whatever graphics card you can fit in. But yeah, that. I'm not sure what graphics card pricing you could get, but yeah. I gotta ask, would a 2700X and a 3070 be a good pair for 1080p Ultra in the near future? I imagine so. The 2700X would potentially be a little more of a bottleneck with the 3070, not because of PCI Gen 4 really, but just because of the sort of throughput that we can expect the card to have. But overall, I'm sure that it'd be a pretty good combination, especially for 1080p. If I miss any questions, by the way, feel free to repost them. LP Kingfire, I replied to your message, your comments on my last video. So I asked how much thermal paste did you use, and did you remove the sticker when you installed the cooler? Chris, no. And also, if the music's alright or too quiet, too loud, feel free to let me know and I'll modulate as such. Where's the thing gone? There it is. Right. So yeah, my PC makes an electric whine when I start playing games. What could it be? PSU's 5 years old, but it's a Corsair 850 watt builder series. So it's very possible that it is something called coil whine, which can happen from your GPU. You say it's not your GPU, which is fair, although I have tested a lot of graphics cards and power supplies with graphics cards, and generally power supplies can cause coil whine in a number of different cards, so that's something to consider. But is it did you say it was only when you start playing games? Yeah, so that's because the graphics card starts drawing more power, and your power supply is probably not as stable of a voltage as it maybe might like to be, and so graphics cards are fairly sensitive, or the power delivery circuitries can be relatively sensitive to that. How would a 7700K hold up with a 30 series GPU? So I don't have any, so I can't tell you. My assumption would be that it's probably going to bottleneck the cards more than a current gen, Intel CPU, for example. It's likely that. Wow, Twitch was the delayed one today. 17 minutes late. Nice. What you call it? Brain's gone blank. What was I saying? Oh, 7700K. Yes, I suspect that it will probably bottleneck a bit more, but how much is certainly a question that I would like to answer. I don't. Oh no, I do have a 7700K, so I did want to test that with the 3070 at some point when I eventually get my hands on one, so that will be a question that I will be able to answer eventually. I suppose that question answers Baldric's question. The CPU is going to be even more of a bottleneck in that case. What's the best way to improve broadband speeds in the UK? Who are you with? Like, who's your provider or your ISP? How much do you think the release of the Ryzen 4000 will affect Ryzen CPU prices as general, and is it worth holding off from buying a Ryzen CPU until after the 4000 series launch? So the answer to that is it's likely that it will affect probably the used market more than the new. Although the new market is already fairly discounted from new prices, at least the last time I checked. So it will also depend on effectively how mad AMD go with the announcement in a few weeks' time. If they say we've had insane generational improvements and we had 7 billion% more performance, then yeah, they're gonna drop through through the floor. But if this is a generational improvement, or even if it's a modest performance uplift, then I don't expect it to be too hard. Sky. So that means that you're using BT's lines. So it depends if you're willing. So there's a lot of questions that I would need to ask to answer this question. Do you have ADSL or VDSL? The way you would know is ADSL caps out at like 10 megabytes per second, whereas VDSL caps out, kind of depends on what you're on, but technically speaking, VDSL caps out at, doesn't, but with BT, you normally find VDSL is like 80 meg or so. Recommendations for a budget creator's laptop. What is the budget? Because for when you're talking about business purchases, especially, for example, someone's talking about the like Adobe Creator Suite, that's like what, £600-800 a year. So if you're already paying for that, budget would be a couple grand, whereas some other people's budget might be like £500 or whatever. So what's the budget? When do you think the 3080 will become more readily available? I thought there was more stock landing soon, and then after that, what you call it? Just coming weeks, months. It will depend on Nvidia's supply chain on top of then the AIB supply chain. So in that case, then upgrading your router is the single best thing you can do. Do you use Wi-Fi or do you use Ethernet? I would assume Wi-Fi, but gotta ask. As an Adobe user, do you think that it would be good if I transition to Ryzen 5000 8-core, or should I stick with next-gen Intel? So you're talking about unreleased products. I cannot tell you. Also, I assume unless they're planning on changing the naming scheme, that it will be Ryzen 4000. But yeah, the answer is I could not tell you. My assumption would be that, especially if you're making use of Intel's QuickSync versus using CUDA or OpenCL acceleration, I think, then obviously Intel will be a better shout. But it's possible that for the money you'd be willing to pay for a Ryzen 8 core, you would only get 6 cores or whatever from Intel, depending on what their pricing scheme's like in performance. But yeah, because you're talking about next gen stuff, we really can't say. Wi-Fi. Yeah, man. Have you got any recommendations with a budget up to £200? God, there's a lot of there are a lot of options, especially in that price range. I'm trying to think of what would be the best option for that. So the one thing to note is that there's two ways for you to upgrade your router. The first way is to keep your existing router and use it in bridge mode effectively. The other way is to replace it entirely, but that means that you will need to use have a DSL, either a modem or have the DSL modem built into the router. So ASUS do a DSL line of routers, which I've used in the past and are pretty decent. But having a DSL modem is still an option, or just using the standard one and then using a separate router to actually run on the traffic. I can't think of any good recommendations off the top of my head. ASUS tend to be pretty good for routers. If you're up to £200, let me find the router that I'm thinking of and see what price it's at. Linksys. Well, it depends how, into it you want to get. They've got a their WRC router that has pretty decent Wi-Fi and has you can flash open WRT onto it, and you get a lot of advanced features, but that is also a little bit overkill, so I'd understand if you'd rather not. The Netgear Nightwing, I haven't had the best experience with Netgear software, so personally I wouldn't, but that is also an option. Logical upgrade from a i5-6400 for a mini ITX motherboard. I think I have a Ryzen 1700X somewhere, but I'm a motherboard derp. Nice. So yeah, if you have a Ryzen 1700X, you will need a new motherboard. If you want to keep your motherboard, then the highest you could go is a 6700K. You can pick those up really cheaply, cheaper than you could buy a Ryzen motherboard, even especially an ITX Ryzen motherboard, as they're reasonably rare. So if you're going to do a simple upgrade, the 6700K is a very good way to go for that. But yeah, you would need a B350 motherboard or newer. Were they the same socket? Were they the same? Possibly. Well, it does also depend on the motherboard, because some cheaper ones don't get BIOS upgrades, especially to support extra things like your CPUs. Also, the 6700K, while the 7700K is a bit faster, it is slightly, only slightly better overall. Sam the Man, what is the maximum temperature a 10700K or 10700 could be before starting to break? So the answer to that is it has a thermal junction temperature. It also has a thermal throttling temperature, which is lower than the thermal junction temperature, but I'm fairly certain that it's 105, although it could have changed. Let me... Can't spell. The T junction is 100 degrees, so 100 degrees Celsius before it thermal throttles, like it actually shuts down. Oh, made me log in to go to Intel Arc. That's weird. Okay. But yeah, the T junction is is 100 degrees. I think the thermal throttling temperature would be 90 or 95. Do you know anything about the OBS X264 1080p 60 FPS at medium preset? What do you mean? What, like it exists? But yeah, what do you mean? I can't put a copy of Windows on my laptop. I can't get to boot my drive. I can't get to my boot drive to boot from the USB stick. Tapping F2, F12 and the splash screen appears, does nothing. It just boots into Windows. So try pressing delete to see if you can get into the BIOS. Also, how did you create the bootable USB stick? Right. So it should do. It depends if you're what sort of game you're playing and all that jazz, but medium preset would certainly be more difficult for it. What you got? Brain's gone blank again. Nope, got nothing. That should be good. Yeah. Try it out. If the performance isn't worth it or working for you, you can always set to fast preset or whatever. Hey man, not sure if you've already talked about it, but what are your thoughts on the Zotac 3080 Sich? So I haven't. I saw a brief bit where from Reddit that the 3080 non-Trinity, whatever their lower card is intentionally nerfed to make the Trinity look better. That seems like a very dumb way to go about marketing your products, but yeah, it's. I haven't got any 3080s yet. I certainly don't have any of those Zotac ones, either of them to compare, but yeah, I'd be interested to test them out and see what the difference is. Definitely. Fair play. Dear. Yeah, that's understandable. Did you have a pre-order on the Trinity or the non-Trinity one? Also, if I missed any questions, feel free to post them again. Yeah, our 3080 is generally available now, are still sold out. I think a lot of them are still sold out. I think this has been what do you call it? Not having a good day today. This is like wave 2, and then there'll be a wave 3, next week or whatever. I had the pre-order for the Trinity, which is the one that was getting right. I read that then, but fair, yeah. So one, no, I'm planning on buying any. I will be getting some review samples. I've already confirmed Asus and Gigabyte for next week. But yeah, it'll be interesting to check those the different models from Zotac out and see what the actual difference is. I downloaded Windows 10 from Microsoft. It works okay because I installed it fine on my desktop. Just my laptop won't work. So if it won't boot into the BIOS at all, then I wouldn't worry about it being the USB stick. I would work out what key you actually need to press. So try pressing F1, try pressing delete, try pressing, well, any of the F keys. Try holding it down. Try holding the keys down before you press the start button and keep holding them. Or just Google what the key is for your your machine. Because if you can't get into the BIOS at all, then problem isn't your USB stick, it's the laptop. I haven't spoken to them about it. I haven't been offered one. And yeah, I'm still kind of trying to resolve the laptop thing. I actually don't know if it's the toughest Strix. I was told I'm getting 1, so we'll see when it gets here next week. How bad will a 6500 bottleneck a 3080 at 1440p? Probably a fair bit. If a 10900K bottlenecks a 3080, then yeah, it's gonna. Hi, I'm a developer and occasionally play games. I'm looking for a monitor to buy. Got some specs in mind. 32-inch, 4K, 75Hz is good enough. 16:9, good colors. Any suggestions? Off the top of my head, I don't actually know any 32-inch 4K monitors. Let me Google it and find out. I wanna do AOC do a 32 4K. Oh, didn't I review one of those? Oh wait, that's not 4K. Thank you for lying to me. LG generally make the fanciest 4K monitors. I will see if they do. That's a weird one. So actually, that's a good question. What's your budget for that? How to change hertz on a BenQ doesn't really matter. Right click on your desktop, like the Windows desktop, press what's the screen options, display settings, scroll down, click advanced display settings, display adapter properties for display 1, monitor, refresh rate. Less than 1K, fair. That doesn't really matter. Are you in the USA or UK or elsewhere? Just because then I can tell you which models are available in your region, because it varies, especially with LG. UK, fair. So if you want the fanciest with the weirdest stand in the world, then there is this one from LG, the 32UN888. I've not reviewed any of these specifically. I haven't reviewed any 32-inch 4K monitors, or at least not in a very long time. So keep that in mind. And then the other one that's in the little selection box, the 32EL500, is a cheaper version with 95% DCI-P3. Yeah, it does. It's kind of weird. What's your opinion on MSI customer services? I have never used MSI's customer services, I don't think. I've had some interesting comments about them, but I have also had my own share of interactions with MSI's teams, personally, as some people know. So, yeah, I can't really tell you, I'm afraid. But that is definitely where it stand indeed. Windows has a thing that lets you boot into the BIOS. Interesting. Honestly, didn't know that. No worries. Oh. Yeah. How many monitors is too many? Well, I have like 10 here. And I'm getting another one tomorrow. I've got a problem. But yeah, I've got 3 on my desk at the moment. I want 4, but it's going to be complicated to set up. I even bought the arms for it, but yeah, it's going to be a difficult one, so I probably won't Yeah, I really like Apple's aspect ratio. What is Apple's aspect ratio? Are you talking about the what's it called? Mac? No, the Pro Display XDR. Was that 16 by 10? I'm doubting myself now. Oh no, the Pro Display XDR is 16 by 9. Oh, 4 by 3 for laptops. Doesn't the Surface line use 4 by 3 or is it? No, it's maybe. I can't remember off the top of my head. Hey, not quite a newbie. I'm trying to work out how to make my 221.5 inch and 127 inch look best on my desk. Vertical? Maybe? But yeah. Any review of the MSI GF63? I don't think I've reviewed the GF line. I reviewed the GL line. Yeah, it's probably unlikely that I'm going to be reviewing MSI laptops. Fair play. Oh yeah, sorry, I read the comment in YouTube chat, but then forgot. I can say the Acer Nitro monitor is really good. Like I said in the review, the stand has a lot to be desired, but we'll do until I get a monitor mount. Nice one. I'm glad you like it. I think you understand my my concerns with it, but the actual panel itself is great. Sky like i5 supremacy in the chat tonight. Indeed. You mad lads. I've got a what was after? Yeah, no, I've got a Skylake. In fact, actually, it's sat there under the pile of thermal paste. Oh, I've got a chair to review. I hate it. It's a new one from Cooler Master. It's an ergo chair. Right, here's the thing. This headrest, right, is meant to slot in the top. It has this motion. Now, when you go to put your head on it, it always folds. Like, I do not know why it has this function, besides to sit there and look pretty, because the second you put your head on it, it just folds away. Also, it has height adjustment. Oh, this is as high as it goes. But the chair is clearly designed for people under, what, 5'4", because I'm 6 foot, and this just cuts into my back, even at its height, like tallest setting. And then it's meant to be an ergonomic chair, but it feels very unergonomic and just hurts to sit in a lot of the time. So, yeah. But it's weird because, I don't know if you can see, but see all that metal? That's billet aluminium. Like, that's a solid piece of aluminium that has been CNC cut. Which explains why it's £600. Someone who sat in CAD and never sat in the chair? Yeah, pretty much. Got the same problem with chairs. A chair's another thing I need in the work from home situation. You and everyone else, man. It's been insane. To throw my hat in the I've been sitting in this for years ring. This Noble chairs. This is the Hero, and it's got adjustable lumbar support, like in and out support. And I really like it. I'm almost an affiliate. If you buy through my link, I do get a reasonable kickback. So if you were to buy one, feel free to use my link. But I also have the Icon, which is the one that's over there, and I've had the Epic as well, which is the other one, and the Epic wasn't as good, but the Icon's nice. This one's probably the best. And this is £300, not 600. Same as BMW battery mounting, they have to take the wheel out to remove the battery. Yeah, it depends on which car. I've worked on a fair few BMWs, but yeah, some of them are in the boot. The E93 series is in the boot. Are you over 190 centimeters? No, I am 183, 6 foot exactly. If I hit that Amazon link and switch to the US, you think you'll get something? No, but if you hit any of the Amazon links that are in the description, like to my PC, my tool that I made called Locally Links will take you to Amazon US, and that would give me something. Yeah. You share the Noble Shares link. I can find it. Where's the hero? That one, that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one. Oh, that's very long. I'm gonna just... There we go. That's the Noble Shares here. Mr. Payment, fair, that's not fantastic. And yeah. It's unfortunate for sure. Source code, nice. Any cheap recommendations for RGB lighting? So it depends how cheap you want to go, but you can buy RGB strips from eBay. Like, just if you search RGB strip or 5050 RGB LED, you will find like literally 5 meters of it for a tenner or whatever, and you can normally just plug that straight into your motherboard. There's a limit to how long you can have it connected to your motherboard. Reasonable sizing applies, but yeah, it's all the same stuff. So I know how important a good chair is. I can't bring myself to spend so much on a chair, especially when I could put that money to rig upgrades. I know how you feel, man. I suppose the thing is that you can upgrade your PC anytime, but the health concerns you'll end up with later could be a determining factor of what you upgrade first. But what can I say? I'm screwed already. Did I miss anything? I don't think I mean, I probably did, but yeah. As always, if I miss any questions, answers, feel free to repost them. Yanizig, is it very fancy? Does it have motors or something? And is it not really an office chair? Is it a plane? The stand from the Acer VG271 UP. Yeah, I remember. Wobbles like a good one. And the stand seems to point the monitor down. Yeah, that's fair. Yoshidis, so the good thing is that NVIDIA now allows NVIDIA GPU users or owners to use FreeSync as G-Sync. So with a 1060, you will have you will be able to enable FreeSync in NVIDIA's driver, or you'll be able to enable G-Sync running over FreeSync kind of. You're allowed to now, basically, as long as you have a reasonably updated graphics driver. That's fine. Should work well with it. You got the Particles t-shirt. Nice one. That's probably the most tough for them to print, but I was very impressed by the print quality that they got out of it. So, yeah. What's your gaming laptop of choice? It depends what your budget is, but the Acer Triton 500, which I think is having a refresh, was probably the best all-rounder. It's reasonably expensive. I would go for the 2060 model rather than the like 2070 or 2080 ones, because the thermal constraints mean you don't get that much more performance, but you save a lot more money. So I think that the last time I reviewed it, which was over a year ago at least, it was £1,500 or something. So it's not, that model wasn't overly cheap, but yeah, I think I'm doing a thing with HP in November now, which could be interesting. So I'll get to check their ones out again. Yeah. NVIDIA the good guys for doing what others do and not charging anymore. Yeah. Yeah, quite possibly. And the other thing with this is that, like, so it's a mesh chair in the middle and like on the sides, but like when you've got a backpack on and you're like, you know, hiking or whatever, where does it get the most hot? Right in the middle down your spine. That's where they've put the like fake leather on this. Like, why would you not put the fabric in the middle where the majority of the heat is, to let it expand out, instead of putting the leather in the middle? Like, I guess they were going for, you know, spinal support by using leather instead of the like, you know, mesh, but like I'll calm myself down for my actual, you know, review. So I currently have a Ryzen 3700X. Is it worth upgrading the Wraith Prism? It's, you might benefit from it. It depends on how what your what you call it, budget would be for that upgrade, but realistically it's realistically it is probably not going to give you too much more performance. It just depends on what the temperatures you're currently running at are, really. Will you ever consider reviewing phones? I review ones that I buy and that I get sent. So I bought my OnePlus 7T Pro, and I reviewed that. But it's not something that I really want to make a habit of, really. Phones aren't something that I'm overly interested in the grand scheme of things. So, yeah, I basically just upgrade my phone once every couple of years when there's some new features, or, you know, camera quality improvements are good enough, and then I review it and then leave it alone for another, you know, few years. No worries. You're welcome. My PC keeps restarting, giving critical service failed error. That's not ideal. Is it a blue screen error? And yeah, I buy backpacks now with gaps down the spine for that reason. Exactly. Also, what do you think of the industry getting bigger with gaming now? I feel like the gaming phones is probably still going to be a fairly niche subset. The only one that I really know is Asus, with the ROG phone. So I can't imagine that's going to be a really big deal. I think foldables and you know, ever improving cameras is probably going to be the you know, the next steps. But yeah, upgraded the latest video drivers for the 1080 Ti the other day, and now every game on Steam crashes. I had to reinstall the previous drivers to be able to play anything. Haha, now the tables have turned. I actually haven't installed the latest one with my 1080 Ti. I installed it with a 2080 Ti to do some testing with NVIDIA Reflex, but I haven't done it with my 1080 Ti, so maybe we'll skip this one. Blue screen error. When it blue screens, there's a little line at the bottom that tells you what program or service failed. Keep an eye on what that says, because that's what matters. What program causes it or what service causes it to fail is the key to finding a solution there. Source code, yeah, it depends on the temperatures. And what do you guys reckon the 3070 will launch in the UK? Trying to get a rough idea. Wasn't it October 10th? I have my notes from the launch. And I didn't make a note of that. I think it was October 10th, and I'm fairly certain that it will launch worldwide. Okay, Wazaki. In that case, I'm not really sure. You can go to the event viewer and look at the critical errors to see if it logged what service failed. Does the insider builds still pink screens of death? So it does green screens of death. The green screens are something or other. I can't remember. It still does blue screens, but it now also does green screens of death for a different reason, but brain's gone blank on why. Mr. Payman, God no. Well, the fact that AOC's 24 GTU is a 1080p 144Hz IPS monitor that's beautiful, fantastic game on, and it's like £180, means that there isn't really much excuse besides, you know, not bothering to upgrade. Like, you know, game whatever you're happy with. If you're happy with 1080p 60, then you do you, man. But high refresh rates is a lot more accessible and really very good. So yeah, nice one. What monitor did you get, Etty? And also hello Zen, how you doing? If you don't power your computer in like 2 months, is it expected to be slow? Not really. Like, it's not like a car where it needs to warm up again. The only reason that it might be slow is if you haven't powered it on for a while, it might not have done, say, background updates, and so when you turn it back on, it will do all those updates in the background, like Windows updates, which can slow the PC down, but generally speaking, no. Thank you, Yoshidis. That's very kind, and yeah, I can't say much else, but thanks. I'm glad you enjoy the stream. Hopefully you have a chance to check out some videos if you haven't already. Yeah, thanks. 2560 by 1080 75 hertz. Interesting. So I actually reviewed it's not public yet, but I reviewed a Yamaha ultra wide. It's £400. It's 3440 by 1440, 144 hertz, and IPS. At £400, it's fantastic. The only problem is that it has 20 milliseconds of input lag, and that's terrible. I've tested a lot of monitors, and that's possibly the slowest I've tested. At least monitors outright. I even tested total system input lag, and that was 45 milliseconds average, which My usual test result for that would be low at high 20s, low 30s. So yeah. No worries, thanks. £400. Well, it's £400 for a 1440p 35 or 34-inch ultra high refresh rate ultra wide. Like, that's ridiculously cheap. You should see the Asus ones, the Asus ones, man. I'm almost 35 and play RPGs mostly, so would I notice? So that's the thing. Probably not. It only really matters for things where your aim in games is going to be really tested. For RPGs in general, I wouldn't care too much. So yeah, it's not about the size, it's about the aspect ratio and the refresh rate and also the colors. So yeah, true, I will be playing that a lot when it comes out. Remember when you reviewed the AOC C24G1 monitor? Does that have a built-in speaker? Probably, but I'm not sure. It's been a while. It's also one of the older ones. I would recommend going with the 24 GTU instead. But yeah. Andy, do you game? I do, when I can be bothered. I play a variety of games, but honestly, I've been playing Among Us a lot with friends, and it's fantastic. So there's that. But in the more serious games, I was reasonably decent at COD Modern Warfare. Before that, Rainbow Six Siege. Before that, Rocket League. I play racing sims a fair bit, so yeah. Have I missed the chat about another day of RTX 3000 series madness? Kind of, but yeah, it's been interesting for sure. A friend has the C24G1 monitor and he doesn't know how to enable the monitor speakers. Right. If it's not in the monitor's menu, then it's possible that it doesn't. And the answer would be I wouldn't recommend using monitor speakers anyway. Even a relatively cheap set of standalone speakers is definitely recommended. You can have even relatively cheap, like £10-20 sets of speakers that will still do a better job than monitors built-in ones. So that would be what I'd recommend. Were you also sus? Well, I don't know. I wasn't the imposter the entirety of last night, so I've been watching streams of Among Us. It looks fun. It's really fun. The more people you have, the better. And yeah, it's fantastic. Nice one. Essie, that's awesome. That is a very good deal indeed. And that's you know, a very impressive value for a 1440p high refresh rate monitor, especially one that's IPS. Right, that is slightly over our usual hour, so thank you guys for tuning in. I do these every Thursday 8 PM UK time, so if you want to tune back in next week, feel free to do so. And there'll be videos tomorrow, Monday and Wednesday. Also car channel video on Tuesday, so feel free to check out all that. But yeah, have a great weekend, stay safe, and we'll see you all